In today's episode, we're going to be painting a Loonboss on a Squig. Super easy to put together, just shake it all up, but not too much so that the Loonboss and Squig are separate. Oh, hi guys, welcome to Mob Hammer Not 40k, I'm Mob, and you know what's better than buying brand new Warhammer miniatures? It's being given free Warhammer miniatures. In a previous video, I was introduced to Warhammer Fantasy when a friend gave me Hexbane's Hunter's Warband, and it was, again, my very first time ever building and painting a Warhammer Fantasy set. Then, for an added challenge, she ended up giving me a Loonboss on a Cave Squig. Now, I've never actually painted an orc before, or any orc style type miniature, so I was a little worried because there's a lot of skin tones and there's something that has to look fleshy, and again, I'm coming from Warhammer 40k, so I'm dealing a lot with metallics and seeing only faces, which in itself is already pretty difficult for me. Painting one-off miniatures like this, where you're not trying to build an entire army or warband around it, is a really great opportunity for you to develop your skills and try different techniques. It's just a lot of fun to not have to be too stressed if it doesn't turn out to be perfect or doesn't match your other miniatures in your hypothetical army. That being said, I do want to do a good job on this, so I'll leave it up to you to decide whether the final product turns out the way it should. God knows whether I ask for it or not, you'll definitely let me know in the comments. Anyways, let's get started. Using my airbrush, I spray Vallejo Black Primer and then use Vallejo White Primer for a Zenithal highlight. Not gluing the Loonboss on yet, here's how the full miniature looks together. There's even grooves to snap the Loonboss into place. I've been wanting to incorporate more inks into my painting, so I grabbed Game Ink Red and sprayed the squig through my airbrush, making it look really vibrant. I then wanted to add some shading, so I grabbed Drakenhof Nightshade and started to... This wasn't what I was looking for. This is, the vibrancy. Where'd the vibrancy go? Great. So here I am making a painting video and I'm already failing. Or am I? As Robert Frost once said, the best way out is always through. Now, I'm not always sure about always, but in this case, I decided to allow time for the wash to dry and then focus on other details. Maybe I would figure something out. With Carnal Purple Express color, I decided to give the squig's tongue a slightly different hue in hopes of having it stand out a little more. Next, with Bone White, I painted on the teeth and toenails, which against the dirty looking squig's body was actually turning out pretty striking. My motivation and inspiration was coming back to me. With just a basic black, I painted in the squig's horns. And with that, it was time to see if I could bring back more color to the squig. Grabbing Scarlet Red, I painted down a watered down layer across the entirety of the squig. I was beginning to realize the red ink and Drakenhof Nightshade wash may not have been such a bad idea after all. I was lucky to have a range of reds that I could use to build up more layers and highlights. Starting with Gory Red, I picked out the most outward-facing sections of the squig, and then I moved on to Bloody Red for even fewer surfaces and raised edges, which allowed me to create a really nice color gradient on the skin. I think this is a great little anecdote I want to share with you about the painting journey. A lot of times you'll be working on something you think doesn't really look that good or isn't turning out the way you want it to. But really what it comes down to is practice and patience for yourself and your work, as with most things in life. Using Arctic White, I carefully draw in the eyes. We'll be doing something more with this in a moment. With Troll Slayer Orange, I pick out a bunch of the raised, boil-looking blemishes on the squig, as well as paint a few extra dots that I add myself. It adds a nice little contrast, I think, and emphasizes some more details on the miniature. I'll also be using more of this orange later to help create cohesion with the base. Going back to Arctic White, I painted these little white lines on the edge of the tongue. I saw them on the box art, and I'm not quite sure what they're called, but they do make the figure look a little more monstrous. Grabbing Technical Art Coat, I apply this to tongue to give it a nice little wet sheen. Just look at the slobber mouth. Now that the eyes have had a chance to dry, I grab Tesseract Glow and apply it over the Arctic White, giving it otherworldly properties. Now it was time for the base. Grabbing the paint Earth, I color in the dirt's foundation around the mushrooms and the weird moon insect. Back again with Arctic White, I fill in the mushroom stems. Remember Troll Slayer Orange? Well, I'm using that for the tops of the mushrooms. Then, with Moon Yellow, a paint which I had trouble using, I paint in the body of the quote-unquote moon sect. Having learned my lesson before that shade equaled good, I take Agrax Earthshade and completely douse all the terrain. Again, returning to Arctic White, I give a highlight layer to the toenails and teeth. Not fully satisfied with the Moonsex color, I paint over once again with Moon Yellow and instead use Nuln Oil to give it a wash. With, you guessed it, Arctic White, I paint the eyes and then add the polka dots to the mushroom tops. Looking pretty slick. Before we move on to the Loonboss, if you like what you're seeing, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I've got a lot of fun little video ideas coming up I'm excited to share with you that I think you'll really enjoy. With Express Color Troll Green, I start with the Loonboss's skin. Next, with Caribbean Turquoise, I paint in the base coat for the cloak. With Enchanted Steel Metallic Speed Paint from the Armor Painter, I use this to coat the Loonboss's armor. I also use this for the Squig's little chain buckle on its ankle, but just never filmed me painting it. Going back to Vallejo, with Silver, I edge highlight the armor and bolts, as well as paint in the sword. With Moot Green, I give a highlight to the skin, and then with Electric Blue, I highlight the cloak, and then one final layer of Electric Blue mixed in with a little Arctic White for a bright highlight. After cleaning up the base of the miniature, we mount the Loonboss onto the Squig, and finally, it's complete. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to always be kind to yourself and keep practicing, whether it's in painting or anything else in life. See you next time. Bye!